Hello, everyone. Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Index podcast, Beyond These Spaces. Today, I am your host. I am Firas Alsahin, the co-founder and design director of Force-Based Design. My guest for today is an architect, an interior architect, a design innovator. For more than 30 decades, he's been active in Middle East, Asia, and Europe. I'm welcoming today Mohammed Adib.
Thank you, Firas, for this amazing introduction, and Index for this great podcast.
Thank you so much for being here today, Mohammed. Before I delve into the topic, I just want to ask you questions, and this is for our listeners. Who is Mohammed Adib?
Wow, what a question. So, Mohammed Adib, I was born in Iraq a long time ago. I moved to the UK, where I did my education and university there. I did architecture at the Architectural Association School of Architecture. Then moved to Spain, where I did my postgraduate studies. Then I did what used to be called the tour, the Grand Tour. So I actually went east and came back from the west, working around the world. It took me about a year and a bit. And then I sort of started working first in the Middle East, in Jordan, in the UK, in France, Germany, and then slowly started doing a lot of work here in the middle, in the GCC, and then decided to move the office from London to Barcelona. And ever since, we've been growing slowly and continuously. Then I was lucky enough to be allowed to join as a partner at D1 Architects, which is a 40-year-old company based here and started here in Abu Dhabi. And then, architects were always bored, and we always try new ventures. So I have a bit of other bits and pieces as well, all related with design.
Fantastic. I guess I should greet you as like, hola, cheers, and salam alaikum.
Perfect.
Amazing. So, Mohammed, since you are an expert in the architecture field and also innovation, and me and you had lots of discussion about in many opportunities before we were talking about the metaverse, and now I think we met in some panels when we were talking about AI and the effect of it in our like design flow, workflow, and even in our normal life. So, in my topics today, I just want to distribute it on like 4 pillars. So we want to talk about where is AI today and how is it affecting our life and work. And in the end, I would love to really discuss where we do see ourselves in 10, 15 years. And in between, it's really great to touch on AI and creativity and how it's really affecting our design, and also clients, which is, I think now they have also their say on the workflow and design and expectations, timeline, and all of that within the AI timeline. So I'm gonna start with the first question. Where do you see AI today, and how is affecting your workflow, and how is really what is for example, the things that you felt is different, maybe say 1 year or 2 years or 3 years ago, that you are really practicing on your daily routine?
I think before sort of jumping into the AI part, the technological part that relates to architecture or design in general, it's always been something very important. As you said, I've been working for over 3 decades. When I started, AutoCAD was version 3. It was a lot more difficult to draw something on a computer than by hand. So we were always adapting to technology. I remember when I finished university, BIM started. ArchiCAD was the first thing that doing BIM. It was always tools that helped present your creativity or produce your creativity. And I think AI is at a similar point now. The technology that is obtained from AI or AI programs or apps or whatever are just helping us in the process. We really need to think of it. I mean, we'll touch into a bit more detail later, but we really need to think of it of the next tool. We had, when AutoCAD came, it was something amazing. When BIM came, it was even better. Generative architecture, generative programs were sort of an early version of AI as well. That was unbelievable. And now AI is another thing, but it has a bit more of a risk because of its foray into design as well. We really should think of it more as a tool. We really should think of it more of a support to the creative process that the humans should still be doing.
Yeah, no, I totally can relate for that, because even my early days when I was in university, I remember that's the first task that has been given to us, or the first tool, let's call it, is the rotring pin. That we have to do all our floor plans rotring. And I remember later on, we have to do our perspectives in watercolor. And then someone decided that using airbrush is really something cool. And we start bringing this heavy compressors to the university, and we start spraying this beautiful colors to do the renderings for our perspectives. And of course, whoever was really good in doing this kind of renders, he was like better in producing the work, and the professors was more impressed. And as you mentioned, I remember when CAD was really introduced, and I was like a trainee at one of the offices in Damascus, and I remember those guys who used to work really on blueprints, and they were really literally blue, and you can smell the ammonia coming out of it. So when they start seeing the first people working on CAD, they felt like, oh my God, we totally lost our job. So of course, whoever didn't really embrace or really accepted the change maybe lost an opportunity or two, or maybe it was out of job because the CAD draftsmen, they stepped in. And then I remember 3D modelings when it started coming into the surface, and we started playing with shapes and experimenting, and then BIM came. And so I think it's a story of disruption when it comes for our tools as designers and architects that's keep coming our way and made us really think about what is next. But I felt that there was a bit of a gap after all this fancy rendering tools and all like V-Ray and Corona and all these plugins. And then we took a long pause and we played with metaverse for a few years. And it was exciting, although it was very complicated and wasn't really easy to do with NFT. And you had your say on that. You work on some exciting stuff, and I want to really touch on that a bit. So, but this gap that happens in technology, when AI came, and I remember when I tried my first prompt ever, I was blown away with the result, and I really felt that this is really gonna change everything. And I always like to say that AI is gonna be always the tool brush, or like the paintbrush. It will never be the artist or the replacement. But since now we are talking about all these tools, from the rotring pen to 3D Max to BIM, and to make it really useful for our listeners, if I ask you today, what is really the AI tools? And let's go to details, because everyone is talking about AI without revealing a proper piece of information on people, how to use AI. We keep using AI, but what is the tool that you today believe it's really could be a replacement or an amplifier or something that is really, really useful, and you already using it in the practice?
Okay, I'll tell you how we went about embracing AI in the office, because I was a bit uncomfortable of how it could develop when it first started. What we wanted to do, first of all, we did not want to use it at all as an image generator to start with. Although this has some advantages, and we are doing it now, enhancing images and producing images. But for example, mood images is a way of if you're doing something unique and there's no images for it, or you cannot find an image from it, it's good to use it for that. This is one thing, but it has to be very well controlled and very well sort of use images that you control. This is something that we do, for example, in Barcelona, where we generate an image always from a library that we have. Past projects, we have it already. We have our mood images sort of filed in a way, and it should produce something from that. This is one thing. The other thing that we wanted to do, especially here in D1, where we've sort of really invested a lot of time and effort there, the first step that we did, I asked, we have about 16 departments in the company. I asked every department to give me their 5 most mundane tasks that they do, the problems that they have doing these tasks, and what would they like to see out of it. When this came back, it was quite a tall sort of order list. A lot of the stuff seemed to be possible to do with AI. So we started investigating programs. We actually had a department about a year and a half just dedicated to that. We had a lot of interns from Sharjah University who had a program on a master's degree on AI. They were helping us a lot to test that. We tested about 360 programs out there on the market.
Okay.
I would say the half of them were absolute rubbish.
Yeah.
Or non-existent, amazing web page, but no content. A lot of the things were just recycling certain things. And just to be sort of the real numbers that we've actually used, I think there were 6.
Okay.
So that gave us another step to do. We thought, okay, no, we need to develop what we need. We need certain things. So we took some of these requests from departments, and we started developing an AI tool for that. It's quite straightforward. I mean, the technology is there. It's just how to guide it in a certain way. And this is where we developed Quibble. Quibble basically is our in-house sort of, a nice way of saying it is probably our sort of architectural Siri.
Okay.
So it is just a database. It is a very, very fast Google. Basically, it just, you give it task and it does it. I'll give you one example. For example, one tool we're using for it is we have an issue with past projects. When a project that happened maybe 5 years ago, the project manager or the architect, the design manager, maybe they're not with us anymore. We don't remember the project. You know, we're doing 40, 50 projects at the same time. This is 5 years ago. We have terabytes of information, of emails, of submissions, of plans. To get something back, you know, there's like some issue or the client saying, oh, this was done badly or something like that, would take 2-3 weeks, someone delving into all these. We managed to use something as basic as OCR, you know, this character recognition, optical character recognition, which was in the 80s, you know, the photocopy machines had it. Using that with AI to get into that, this is something that the program goes in, gives you a summary, a proper ChatGPT kind of summary of the issue, recommendations, everything. This is something that's amazing. You know, we save so much time.
Absolutely.
The same with the OCR. You know, when we have document control, when we submit a project, there's usually maybe 300-400 plans. Just to review the label, you know, if the date is right, if the revision is right. This is something that takes hours and hours and hours, especially as it's right at the end of the project. You know, the submission is tomorrow morning at 8, we finish at 6 usually, you know. So the document control just have to stay there all night checking these things. Now you just plug in the full submission, PDF, CAD, BIM, all the files there. It comes out with an Excel saying this file has this error, this file has this error, and it's more than 100% accurate, you know, because for us, if you see February with a small f, you say, okay, that's fine. But no, it gives you that list. So something that used to take 8 hours to complete after a project is now taking 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You know, so these things are the things that we have developed within our internal thing. Plus, Quibble now, as it's going on and on, we started allowing to talk to BIM itself. So it's a very, very nice way that you can access a full live model of BIM during the whole process of design, construction, and even post-construction. This is something that it just opens all the possibilities. And we're doing a lot of agents now based on that, within that, what we need internally, but also we're looking at maybe taking it externally as well, you know, offering it as a program for other companies as well.
No, that's really, thank you so much for this really technical explanation, because I felt that there is a gap here with the understanding of most of the people on really how AI is being used, because there is a stereotype about AI is an image generator tool, which is definitely, this is not we are really looking for, because anyone start able to really do it. And what I really understand from your talk, that if you pre-trained AI into a task, right, like bringing someone really smart that does his job really great and he remembers everything, and you train him for hours or days or maybe months, and then you ask him to do this task, and what you are using now with AI, that you train the platform or Quibble, what do you say? Quibble, okay.
Actually, the Quibble chose its name.
Quibble, really?
Yeah.
That's really interesting. How
because
come?
we didn't know what to call it. So we asked it with a prompt, saying, what should we call you? And it gave us the
That's fantastic.
And it justified it as well.
Yeah, so. I'll be really afraid to ask him one more question. So what we really did at ForSpace is that we have one big corporate project, and they have design guidelines. And it's really hard to get into every single piece of information and going through all these design manuals. So what we did, that we trained ChatGPT. We created a GPTs for this project. Because once you do it, you can disconnect it from the internet. So for people, they will ask about like security, about like leak of information. This is how you do it. So when we train it and we added all the team at ForSpace to this platform, so now if you just ask any simple question, like what is the acoustic requirement in the meeting room? What is the requirement for the carpet, the ceiling, the lighting? What is the lux requirement for the lights in this room? You will get the answer instead of going through hundreds of pages.
Exactly.
That was really quite useful. So yes, it's not about image generation. Although I believe, and because we as design practices, I feel like we are blocked behind what is called rendering time. So I don't know, have you been in a situation when you have a submission and your 3D Max or any 3D software is gonna go for like 1 hour or 2 hours of rendering time for each frame? You definitely been there. What I also find really useful is, because we all as a design practices, we are blocked behind rendering times, and it's a struggle for all of us. What I found really useful in some times, although that image generation is not what AI really resemble in this case, is taking some white models or maybe the level of details, photorealistic results through renderings. This is where AI really was really helpful.
Yeah, I think it's not just the rendering time. It is really the level of detail that you have to model. Rendering time is something that, yes, obviously it takes time, but the problem is that the clients expect a certain level of detail or photorealism at a very early stage of the project. And that is very, very difficult to achieve. You know, why is the project 16 weeks if they want to see the final result after 2 weeks? You know, there's obviously a process to that. But that is where it helps a lot, you know, because we can do a basic model and generate an image that explains much better to, let's say, a non-professional viewer what the result will be. Another thing is that we work a lot with 3D models. 3D models is a very nice tool while you're designing. But obviously, it's a rough thing. You need to make it quick. We have CNC machines, we have 3D printers, but at the beginning, you need something manual to test things.
Yeah.
And cutting foam by hand, it's a very nice thing. But you get a very rough working model. With AI, we can take a picture simply on an iPhone, take a picture of that, and convert it into an amazing wood model as if it's done by a carpenter. And it explains the concept a lot better than not having something like that. So these assistance or support to presentation or to image, not generation, image improvement, I think this is very, very good side of the design part of AI.
Yeah, absolutely. What really we also experiment at ForSpace is, especially when you've done the submission and you submit all your renderings and you get comments. So usually the normal practice, if you go back to your 3D model, you do your changes and you press rendering again, and you have to pay the same time that you've paid before for the same renders, but it's totally a new time investment because you have changes, or maybe the color, or maybe the finishes, or maybe a chair or something. What I really find useful, if you really take this now with Gemini, with Nano Banana, and even with Midjourney, to change part of the renders to get the result that you want. And this is where you really save a lot of time and just allow you to move to the next stage.
But also, there's a bad thing, about this phase of design, where before we used to do a basic render, and paint on it or draw on it or something, because the level of detail also takes a bit away from the general concept. Some clients start talking about, I don't like this plate in the restaurant table. I'm not even designing the plate, but they start fixing in things that are irrelevant, about the general thing. So I think this is something, obviously some clients are very aware of that, and some clients are a bit more sort of look at the general details that are not important. But definitely helps, but we have to be careful of that negative side as well.
Absolutely.
Too much information too early is also not a good thing.
Okay, Mohammed, now comes to the question. What about creativity? Do you think that we can use it as a booster, as an amplifier, or maybe a brainstorming partner to be more creative, or it's out of the limits?
No. I don't think we should. I definitely don't think we should. And we should never allow it to do that. We're talking about as an assistant to creativity. Okay, generative design for a space, for distribution, that could be assistant for creativity, but really it's just doing a process for you. The creativity has to come from the humans. I think it is, I really don't see it. I mean, it will end up a bit, I think, monotonous. I think we still have a duty. An architect will always be an architect. If an architect that doesn't know AI, he will lose his job to an architect that knows AI, but he will never lose his job for a computer. This is something very, very important, because the feeling, the sensitivity of a person when you visit a space, that cannot be quantified. Maybe in 10 years, we'll touch on this later, maybe it will get there. Maybe the human learning will become better than the humans. But now, as we are, I think there is the sort of biological part that still is very, very important.
Look, I wanted to argue this. I totally understand. I appreciate where you are coming from with this, but what I believe that it's very important for someone who really understands the basics of design, right? And he has all the learning that it was required to get where you are now, or to get me where I am now. But I felt it today is because, especially in anything related to concept, if you want to come up with a fantastic a new concept for a restaurant or maybe a retail shop or maybe a theme park or something, and you want something inspired. Usually, the normal route or workflow is you start doing research, right? Which is you Google ideas. And then when you Google these ideas, if you are Googling, for example, and I really like to give this example all the time, I was assigned to design an Indian restaurant. And I wanted to be something out of the box, something that breaks the stereotype of every Indian restaurant, which is like vibrant and colors and very authentically heavy. And if I go now and it's part of our design process is to look online, right? To look for research, to look for history. So when you look online, you would really wish, if you are like searching or you are Googling the best unique Indian restaurant, right? You would wish that someone in the world has really designed something or posted something or created the content related to a very unique Indian restaurant, and you hope that you're going to find it, right? But where AI, and we know that we can agree that AI does hallucinate, okay? And this is where I believe AI can be a bit of a creative when it hallucinates a solution. Because AI, if he doesn't really find, he or she, or it, if it doesn't find the answer for you, it will hallucinate something for you because its job is to please the human, right? To give you an answer. So sometimes this result as a hallucination, in terms of it's like in words or in an image or an idea, this is give you an extra option, right? An extra results while you are looking, right? And to look at it and think, okay, how can I argue this? How can I really enhance this? So what I did in this project, that I was looking for a unique idea that break away from the stereotype, and I asked for historical reference, and it gave me multiple ideas, by the way, because 10 ideas, hundreds of ideas that you can really get. One of them that really stood out for me is, why don't you get inspired by the Red Fort in Delhi, right? Okay, so I look at the Red Fort and I saw that it's quite one color, different shades, one material, red sandstone. It's amazing architecture, beautiful details, and it's exactly what I'm looking for because it doesn't really look that vibrant and color and busy. So I took this idea and I learned more about the Red Fort because of this idea, and I developed it into a concept. I generated a few images related to the Red Fort and the small detailing and the arches, the Indian arches. And then when I took it and developed it into a concept. So something like this, I felt it quite hopeful. I don't know whether I'm guilty to do that. Is this something that really considered that it didn't came from because it
I
really
think you would have gotten there without it as well.
Yes, exactly. So it is, and it was my decision, by the way, to go with this one, with this solution. So
but this is something that we've always done. You know, you're always inspired by something. But I think that the plus that we have is our experience of certain things is more of a sensorial feeling. You know, I mean, architects, designers, we are voyeurs. We look at people. You know, I go out somewhere and I sit down looking at people, how they move through a space, how they use a space, how they react to a light, to a color, to something like that. This is what helps us design. You know, and this is the same thing that, okay, I could be inspired by a red castle. Yes, but because I've seen a red castle, you know, it's the same thing. Yes, maybe it's quicker, maybe it's thing, but I think our decisions need to come from more of what you do in the space, more than what it looks like.
Yep.
And this is something that at the moment it's lacking in AI. AI is still an amazing generator, quick. It solves a problem for you, but does not create a space. It will show you a lot of images about space, but you still have to build it. You still have to, it's very, very different when you're physically in a room. If it's 3.5 meters high, 3 meters wide, or it's different. With AI, you're making an image. It looks amazing. Put it in another space, it might not work, So all these things are still really need a lot of input from IB, I call it, Inteligencia Biológica.
So let's agree then that we can depend on AI on a sort of research to put a concept together, but the basics is always important. As architects and designers, it's important to understand the flow. This is where we cannot depend on any machine on taking this kind of decisions, and this feelings and the emotions and the reasoning behind why we are doing what we are doing. But it can be an amplifier when we do a research or just get to the information easier than before, or it's gonna open for us maybe more ideas or more doors for us to look through something a bit different. Fantastic. Now the big question is clients. So I recently, in the past few years, I saw a shift with clients' behavior toward AI. Some of them, they are dealing with AI as a guilty pleasure. That's they come to you with how they used to come with Pinterest images, and now they are really coming with a lot of.
It's the worst thing that happened to design.
Exactly,
Pinterest.
It is, and this is why I think they are undermining the work and the value of the design. And where there is other clients, they believe that, okay, now because AI is available, the timeline should be shrinked, or you should produce more designs on your servers faster than before. So how you are dealing with that? Are you facing this kind of challenges with clients?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, there's always clients that want to squeeze you time-wise. I try and push back, really. I mean, I tell them, listen, design is design. It needs its time. You need certain minimum amount of time to design it. What is good if we have 10 weeks to design something and we have 4 weeks to the creative part and 6 weeks to produce, if I can do this 6 weeks in 2 weeks because I'm using AI tools, that will give me an extra 2 weeks to design. And we should keep the 10 weeks. We should work the first steps. These are the important thing. Production is production. It's just a tool. It's just man hours. We have to produce it so that it can be built. But the creative part is just testing. It's testing. There really is. It's mathematical. The more you have time to design, the better it is. Absolutely, there's no other way about it. So the client has to understand that, and I'm still delivering in the same time, but I need more time for the creative part, and it's in the benefit of your project. This is the thing, and this is something that we have to stick to. We have to push. Some clients say yes, now you can do the rendering, but you have to explain. I'm doing an image from Midjourney in the beginning. And what do I do with that afterwards? I need still have to design it, and it still has to work, and it still has to be coordinated, and air should still flow in, and light should be there. All these things. It's important to think about everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think using AI for us is to make us really focus on what we do best, which is, as you said, is really design. If we are putting some time from our time into the deliverables or into the process and the workflow, is important to focus more on producing better designs, because now we have maybe a shortcut, maybe and something like a booster on the process of the design itself. Absolutely. But what about those clients that really and now the grid is saturated with this crazy designs. You can see parametric designs that is not possible to really execute. Have you faced this where someone comes with a few images, whether he found them on Pinterest or he generated himself and say, okay, Muhammad, make me a design out of this. And because I had a conversation with some friends in the architecture business, and they said they had the clients, they came with a full design for a full hotel or resort, and they just want to proceed with detailed drawings.
These clients, I usually tell them, when you go to a doctor, do you tell him what to do to you?
Absolutely.
So same thing. When you come to an architect, let them work. Yeah. So I mean, obviously there are clients and that they know better than something else. But usually in architecture, where it's a bit safer, they're usually more involved in interior design.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's something that they feel more sort of attuned with. But no, I mean, we have to have our professional integrity, and we have to sort of really try and show them that we can do something better. They can be inspired by something. I have clients that they have a vision. They have no idea how it will look like. They have a vision for something. We're working on a very big project in Phuket, for example. And the client first he was not sure. He's Ukrainian, so he wasn't very sure of the wording. His English is not very good. And he was saying, no, I don't want iconic, I don't want something. And then we started developing, actually that we used a bit of AI, because what he wanted was something totally unique. And I could just not explain it to him without showing him some reference images. And it is something that he's really, really happy with this. I mean, he's really, really happy with the result, because after sort of having really 3-4 weeks of conversations, continuous conversations, to understand his vision, and then we delivered something to that. This is the way that it should work. Someone has a vision, someone has an idea, someone wants to do something special in a certain place, and we develop that. This is our work. That's what we studied, and that's what we do.
So don't you believe also that AI helped reshaping the relationship with the clients, in a sense that I know that you work with virtual reality, a bit of augmented reality, and those tools is always to bring the idea better to the clients, to give a better understanding, or even if you are working with a developer and you want really to give him a tool for him also to really sell his product. So is really AI helping this area in terms of what you do with virtual reality, AR, and the way that you present the work?
Yeah, I mean, till now, augmented reality and virtual reality, it was very good as a coordination. We used to do some online meetings, virtual meetings, where you walk through the BIM model, and this is very useful to coordinate. All this and this beam has to be a bit lower, things like that, as a working. But it wasn't sexy enough for a client.
Yeah.
We had some clients that used to show them, they would walk through
and
their building.
VR headsets.
Yeah, but I mean, it's very basic. It's a very slow model, basic. Now with AI, you can do it at a level that really feels real. So this, yes, I mean, but to get to that stage, you've already designed, you've already modeled.
Yeah.
The product is really ready. And it's just to make it in a way that a non-professional from our sector can understand it and can enjoy the space in a real. And it helps a lot, because at the end of the day, videos or images, still images, it doesn't give you the scale. It doesn't give you the space, the feeling of space. Whereas with augmented reality, it is nice. You can move around.
Yep.
You see up and down and the side. It gives you a real feeling of being in the space.
Yeah.
So that definitely is a plus.
Yeah. No, actually, it's quite useful. I'm talking now on interior design scale. We had a client where he wants to present the work to the CEO, and they wanted to make it like a video, add some excitement, some videos, some effects, and neither us or the clients really had the time to produce this video. So what we did, and we found it very useful, that we took the images, the 3D images of the space, and we put them on runway. and we generated a few movements. So we asked to change, to move the camera inside the space a bit, like a bit right, tilted to the left, tilted up and down, and just zoom in. And we were able really eventually to have a 2 minutes video with some nice effects and nice music. And the result was really impressive. And so even for us, when we looked at the images or the PDF presentation, and then we look at the video, we said like, wow, that's really great. And it didn't really take that much time. It's more, it's the generating time. It wasn't really great. It's very long. It wasn't long. And a bit of editing here and there, and voila, you have a small video without really do an animation. Because I remember when we used to do animation on 3D Max, and we have to wait for days, a rendering time of days, because we used to do it frame by frame.
Yeah, of course.
And then we had to put
15
them
frames
on.
every second.
Yes. It's like you're doing a cartoon. And
To put people in. I remember we used to film them with the green drop and put them
walking.
in.
And now
Real
adding people walking in the space is a click of a prompt. It's quite easy. So that's why I always like to say that I believe that the technical barriers is crumbling. And I think we're just only starting. And I think we maybe reach to a point where we're going to have more exciting things in the space.
Yes, I mean, but you agree that really it is a tool. Till now, it is a tool. You know, it's the same thing. We were talking about rotorings, and you know, I remember when we used to do dotted line, we used to put a tracing paper on top of graph paper to make sure that all the lines are the same.
Absolutely.
And then when CAD came in, it was like, what have I been wasting my life on? You know, or I remember I did a project when it was an NX shape, and the parametric to do that, I actually drew a grid on a slide. Projected it on a model, a real model, to get the real lines, how the curves are, and each piece, the size of it. Absolutely. Now with parametrics, it takes you with Rhino, it takes you 2 minutes to do this. You know, I had to do a model, I had to draw the rotoring on a slide, project it onto the slide projectors. All these, it's the same. It's tools that we had available then. We have other tools that are available now. So that should encourage or augment our creativity, because before we were limited a bit, but the same construction materials are getting better as well. So the limitation, everything is moving in a way where we should be more creative, where we should be more confident to do certain things that maybe in the past we shied away because it was not possible to do. You know, so this is
No, that's a really good point, and this is since we are speaking about parametric, I don't believe that a parametric design or something like Zaha Hadid work could be possible without the algorithm, without the tools.
It was.
Right? It was.
We were doing it before. I mean,
without having algorithm.
I remember, poor he's just passed away, Frank Gehry. We did a project with him a long time ago. And he had the first 3D scanner, which he bought from Mirage Aircrafts. And we used to do a model, physical model, in a very small scale, and then scan it and then do drawings from it. But this was the same. I mean, we're talking about the Disney Arena in Los Angeles. There's every single piece of cladding is different. I think there's one piece that repeats twice. That was done, there was no software to do it. It was really done in a manual way. So it was a very complex way of doing it and reaching a result. But
now
it should allow us to do even more.
Even more.
I think even more. Yes.
What is more?
I don't know. But I mean, it's very exciting times that now whatever you dream, you can actually draw, represent, and develop.
I really like that. And I always ask myself, and I really like to ask an expert like you. So I am into sci-fi movies, and I really like to watch anything that could happen in the future, even in the ancient future. So we always see a different type of architecture, that it's quite minimal, it's very parametric, and this is what we call it futuristic, right? So why do we think film producers, they chose to have the architecture and the future in this way. And do you believe it's going to be this way?
No. I think it's also has the limitations. I mean, look at Avatar.
Okay.
The Avatar 2,
Yeah.
we're waiting for technology to be able to do it.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's the same. I mean, if you look at 1920s films about trip to the moon, you know, it's different. If you look at the Jetsons cartoons, you know, how living in space is. Yes, it is a bit more futuristic in the clothes and the cars and the things like that, but still within the limits of what they could do. You know, now we are getting, almost the limit is where we are. You know, so this is the exciting thing. Before it was you'd suppose something is possible and you drew it in a modern way, but now we don't know what is possible. I think this is the exciting moment that is now. Up to now, always technology has caught up with creativity. We are now the same level, but technology is very close to our creativity. And I think in the future, hopefully it will offer us something more, or it will overtake this creativity. Whether that is good or bad or will improve the way we live, I don't know. But hopefully I'll be there and we'll try and sort of take the right steps to mitigate it as we did with CAD, with BIM, with all of that.
So yeah, this is look. My point of view here is that the reason why we see this kind of complex buildings, or yet it's always looks simple for us because it's quite minimal, curvy, futuristic, and parametric. Maybe is because in the future things are gonna get easier to really produce as a design or design tools, and even like a building tool. So even now we start seeing some buildings, some landmarks in our time now that it looks futuristic to the point this is not the right time for it. It's going to be in a movie. It's going to be something in maybe 50 years from now. For example, the Museum of the Future. The complexity of this building, it was impossible if we don't have the technology really to produce it and to really have all this Arabic calligraphy and wrapped all around this irregular shape. So I believe that's...
But you say that, I think we always found a solution.
Yeah.
I think there was always a solution. Yeah, I mean,
give me an example from the history.
Gaudi's Sagrada Familia.
Yes,
you know, I mean,
I was about to say that.
That was, he used to dip thread in plaster and hang it upside down to form these shapes.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you should always find a solution.
Absolutely.
You should always find a solution. It's the same as I told you with this egg, with the projection.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Even Dali.
Dali as well, yeah. I mean, everything had every great building had something in it, you know. And when you see, I mean, Barcelona is a city that I know quite well. But if you see what was happening in the same, for example, the 28 or 29, the World Expo, you have Gaudi was building there, Mies van der Rohe had a pavilion there, and a very Gothic building where the Museum of National Art is. These three buildings were in the same decade, and they are absolutely all very, very current. You know, you can see them. The Mies van der Rohe pavilion is unbelievable. It could be a building done yesterday. The Gaudi is talking about AI hallucinating. I mean, this guy was, you know, constantly smoking. You know, so.
It's exactly his own something.
Exactly. So this is the human creativity is always there.
Yeah.
It's always there. What will happen in the future if AI overtakes us, if this technology overtakes us? I don't know. I don't know if it's good or bad, or I hope it's good. But I mean, we need to be there and
look.
treat it.
Look, if you notice, I really like to play the devil's advocate here. That's only to get exciting points from you. So, look, I'm a big fan, getting back to movies, I'm a big fan of Christopher Nolan. And this guy is a genius. And he produced for us Interstellar and Inception and Dark Knight and many great movies. What is known about Christopher Nolan that he doesn't really use CGI and he hates CGI. Even in Oppenheimer, he didn't use any CGI, although that whatever he produced could be so easy using CGI. But what he did, I believe, when he produced this amazing videos, that he turned it into a piece of art that you can really appreciate because you've done it in the traditional way of doing things. So we are watching movies every day with amazing, amazing results, like you mentioned, Avatar, but we have in the back of our mind that, okay, this is all CGIs and visual effects. But when you really look at these movies and you say, okay, this is done all by hand or done in a lab or maybe in a room like this is where the appreciation is going to be even higher and higher, right? So don't you think that we're going to get to a point in the future where the appreciation of our work, designers and architects, it could be from something similar like this because it didn't use technology, because it's without the machine, and it's purely human, and we're going to look at it differently.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about the physical production of a space, or we are now at a stage there is no limit. There's absolutely nothing that I can think of to do that cannot be done.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can see it. You know, the skyscrapers for 30, 40 years we were limited at 500 meters. Now it's 800, 1,000, 2 kilometers.
Yeah, my argument is 3D printing against sculpturing.
It's the same. I mean, it's the same. It's you know, the creative part is the same. Whether you have to think about sculpting something or 3D printing it or making it out of brick that is chewed away, it's the same. It's just finding the right solution to propose your creative thing. But it's a physical space at the end of the day. You know, it's a physical space that you live, you see, and you form part of. So if we can think about it, someone can build it now.
Yeah.
The issue now is, should we think about it or should the machine think about it?
Yeah.
I think this is the difference. And now we should be thinking. In 10 years, I don't know, maybe I'll retire before.
Okay. Since we are talking about the future, where do you see ourselves in the future? Like 10, 15 years from now? Just like, it could be a wishful thinking. It could be a vision. It could be, I don't know, it could be maybe a very doomsday kind of scenario. I don't know. Just, what do you think?
No, doom, never. I'm the most positive person in the world. I just don't know. I always try to think of the best. No, I think, I mean, if we take about what we're talking about now, about AI, how we can optimize our production phase, maybe the future is that instead of working 60 hours a week, we do 20 hours a week. You know, maybe this is the future. Maybe this is what we should. We should produce the same that we were doing now in less time and have more time to enjoy life, to enjoy families. You know, the medicine is advancing now. The new sort of age to reach 100 is going to be something normal in 10, 15 years. So maybe we should do that. You know, there'll be more people, more interaction, more enjoying life, and still producing the same with the help of AI, of machines, of technology. Not we have to work more because we can produce more. No, we can produce more, we'll produce the same in less time.
So do you see a future where the machine is really more helping us so we can really focus more on our life, on our like maybe families and to enjoy life better?
That's a definition of a machine, no? Till now, I mean, you made a car so that you don't need to walk 12 kilometers to the place, you drive there. So yeah, machines should definitely work for us.
Because I'm always with this argument that is really using AI in the workspace I'm talking now, is it making us work more or is going to make us work less?
I think first we have to separate design from all the rest of the...
Let's talk about the work, because when you are running a studio or a design firm, it's not only about design, there's other things is happening within the practice. Right?
Yeah, but
let's talk about work in general.
Yes, but as a designer, you work every hour of the day. You know,
absolutely. The mind is
we're lucky. We're doing something that's really nice and we like it. So if I can save 80 hours a week by doing everything with the machine, all the admin, all the other parts and the things, I would design 80 hours more.
Yeah.
you know. So, but
Exactly.
with say normal people, because we are not normal.
Yeah.
With normal people, probably yes. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole idea is that you should work less.
Yeah.
You should automate all this. You should outsource all these things to a machine, and then have time, quality time for you.
Yeah. So that's why I always believe that we are in this gray area where I'm talking about myself, where I start using AI, I became able to take more job and to take more projects. So as a human capacity, let's say if I have 3 4 projects a month that I can really able to produce, and because I'm using this technology, I'm using a machine that is helping me, I have a gap, I have more room to take more projects. So if you look at it, I really didn't chill on the beach. I'm not relaxing. I was able to take more jobs. Now, taking this model into the future, right? Do you think that's going to keep happening in the future, or are we going to reach to a point we are more comfortable with using the machine, or the machine is evolving more into something more intelligence or super intelligence, where we can really chill and we can do all our orders through voice?
No,
instead?
but your example, I think, works two ways. For example, for if you can, obviously you can do more work with if the machines are helping you. So if you are someone that enjoy your work and like design, you'll carry on working. If I can do 12 projects instead of 6, I'll do 12 projects. For the reason that I love what I do. If a lawyer can do 12 cases instead of 6 cases, that's probably more about greed or want of more money.
Yeah.
So then human nature will sort of take its toll. If someone is, I don't know what thing of a researcher into something, he can do 4 hours instead of 12, and then the other 8 hours he can dedicate it to his family or something. Great. I mean, it really should be like that. Machines should serve us.
Absolutely. So, if I ask you to say something for future designers, for anyone who is listening to us now, and this is going to be something for the history, because it will be on the internet
Forever and ever and ever.
exactly, and it will not disappear one day, and something that you're going to put for the future. You want to say, like an advice for anyone who's listening, whether he is a fresh designer or someone who started his own business or even he's building his career. What's going to be?
I think the process is always the same. When you learn how to design, when you learn how to develop your creativity, that process cannot be avoided. It can be shortcut. It could be sort of gone around that process, but that is not the right way. You know, you have to, as a designer, you have to go out and look at things. You have to try things. You have to travel. You have to use certain spaces. Keep the technology that is now available to start with. You know, I think what makes a difference between sort of our generation and the new generation is that we had to develop our creativity. And now you can get to a very normal level of design without even thinking of creativity or something. You will do something correct, but there's always the groundbreaking change. There's always something that has not been seen, and that can only be done by experiencing life, experiencing spaces, and just look at everything, look at everyone, look how people use spaces, look how people react to certain things. This is design. You know, design is to make something
How it
aesthetically
works.
pleasing and functional.
Yeah. So it's design is more how it works more than how it looks.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's always someone that likes more green than red, and one likes red than green at the end of the day. But, you know, you go to a space, you say, I like this space. You don't know why you like it,
Yeah.
but because it's been thought through.
Yeah, absolutely. So what about concerns for the future? What concerns you really, Mohammed Adib?
No, I have no concerns.
Amazing.
Yeah, I have no concerns. No, I mean, yeah, that's fine. And no, the only thing is that, the misuse of this technology. This is the only thing that really, the same that what we were saying before, what Pinterest did to design was horrible, horrible. Now everyone knows how to design because they have a board on Pinterest. And the same is, no, probably a lot more dangerous what's happening with AI.
Yeah.
The quantity that you can produce in the short time without even thinking is too much. Is too much. So I think this is really the only concern.
Yeah.
This really needs to be controlled. Once you have the level that you can use the technology properly, perfect. But really, don't start with technology. Start with creativity and then add in technology.
So this is why I always like to say that anyone who's going to get into any kind of practice, and especially in our practice, is to understand the basics. If you understand the basic, we were fortunate enough that we went through the rotring and the watercolor and the plotter and the blueprints and all of this. So we really have this in our archive, we have it in our back of our mind, and now we have the luxury to use a tool that can really let us bypass steps or just get some shortcuts or get something into something even faster. But looking at the new generation, which is they didn't really had the luxury to learn the basics that we really learned, and just delving straight away into the technology. That's what's really concerns me.
Yeah.
It concerns me what my son really doesn't recognize a cassette. It concerns me that when he doesn't really recognize an analog phone, right? It's because this is part of our legacy. This is part of our history. Even our design tools. It's. I know it looks like lyrics now. They look like artifacts. But this is what really we grow up really using, and I still can really, if you give me a piece of rotring now, or give me an airbrush, I can still really master it because it is in my muscle memory, right? So I think it's really important for anyone who is looking at the future is to understand that wherever the world is evolving, wherever any kind of innovated world that we're gonna live in, that is always understand and really mastering the basics.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still certain things. I mean, a butcher will be a butcher.
Yep.
Okay, maybe we start printing steaks,
Or maybe a
3D
robot
printing steaks.
like
Yeah, but still, certain things will still be human and still. Yeah,
yeah,
you might
definitely.
get
I would never like to see like a robot on a shawarma.
Exactly. So hopefully the lawyers will disappear, which is good.
Yeah, exactly. They deserve that.
We'll get more
With
shawarma.
all due respects with all our lawyers.
They should start doing shawarma.
Absolutely. Mohammed, this was really exciting. Unless you wanna say something, finish with something.
I think we touched on everything. Thank you very much for this
Thank you so
initiative.
much for being here. It was really exciting. It was really great talking to you today. Thank you for Index. Thank you for our listeners for tuning in, and have a great day.